Welcome back, Dan. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Busy. Job hunting, painting, music stuff. Makes carving out the time and to settle in and do the podcast a little not so easy these days, but that's fine. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about you. Well, I guess the first things first. What's your favorite season?
Of
Earth.
season of Earth? Oh,
Yeah, winter.
I mean, it's a movie podcast, so
That is
I
true.
figured you were talking about probably fall.
Has it always been fall?
Mostly, yeah. I like
Yeah.
jacket weather, so spring, fall.
Yeah, I was just walking home from the store today, right before I was getting back to get settled in for this, and I was like, man, I kind of really don't like summer now. It used to
Yeah,
be my favorite season, and I used to think it was like, all right, well, I've been like the last couple of years, it's like I've been drinking a lot and I got a belly. Maybe it's just because I'm overweight, and it is
yeah.
getting hotter. Oh yeah, have you ever heard that? It's just like maybe
What?
the planet's getting warmer because Jesus is getting closer.
You must be
Like,
really hot.
wow, so when it gets here, is just the whole Earth will ignite. Great, great second
Praise
coming.
be.
Praise be. No, but I used to think it was that or something, but I've been in fairly decent conditioning phase for this almost this whole year. So I'm like, my
Yeah,
weight's down, I'm doing better, and I'm like wearing sleeveless shirts. Like I don't give a shit what people think, kind of thing.
yeah,
And I'm just fucking miserable out there. Maybe it is a climate changey thing. Maybe it is just getting older. You just feel the weather in your bones more, but
yeah,
I'm just so ready for fall. And that has become my favorite season now.
yeah. I
But,
don't mind winter either because I'm an indoor boy and I can watch all the movies I want.
well, and I've grown to like winter a lot more too. I remember I used to hate it, but also thanks to climate change a little bit, it doesn't tend to snow so much that it isn't immediately like warmed up and melted. So then
Yeah,
there's only like a couple days you're like, fuck, I gotta go shovel the driveway, and it's
yeah,
actually like a giant pain. But I used to hate that when I was younger, and then I also used to wear those big Jeanco jeans,
yeah.
and they just soak up water. So like in the wintertime, like half those pants were just moist and wet and
Yeah,
cold.
just wet halfway up your shin.
Yeah, I used to get wet for my fashion, you know.
Well, they're Jinko jeans. How can you not get wet?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Supposed to be getting everybody else, but not me. But yeah, but winter now, yeah, it's like I like the coziness. I work on slow cooker meals like soups and stews and all that.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I like it being cold. I I used to be like a lizard. I I'll lay on a rock and just soak up the sun and love it. And I still do enjoy that, but that's like going out to do that specifically and not move much and then get into an air conditioned car and go back to a highly air conditioned house.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, the argument that when it's too cold you can throw on a bunch of layers and start a fire or whatever. There's a lot of ways
yeah,
to mitigate cold, whereas if it's hot, like especially if you don't have a good AC unit, or you don't have the money to like really blast that thing, you're just
Yeah.
fucking miserable and hot. So I don't know. If you have a strong opinion about the weather or seasons, feel free to write us at thejacobwayneshow at gmail.com. But with that, let's move on to the Letterboxd Diary section. We have not
Yeah.
watched a lot of movies lately. You've had some stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have too. Haven't really watched any independently. I've kind of just been saving it for when you get back to stuff. And so, oh, I actually haven't logged one in. What have we watched recently? We watched
Uh,
mm,
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee Wee's Big
That was the
Adventure,
most recent. That was most recent. Yeah.
and we did a Stephen King. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Stephen
I
King
think
we
so.
watched was Desperation. I actually have quite a bit of thoughts on that one, but that's for the Stephen King list that we're getting close
Yeah.
to wrapping up the 2000s. And yeah, so we could talk a little bit about Pee Wee's Big Adventure. But
R.I.P. Paul Rubens. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we'll start there and then go back a little bit if you had anything to say on any of those movies. But
Yeah. Sounds
yeah,
good.
rest in peace to Paul Rubens, comedic legend. Obviously, people are gonna overdo the Pee Wee aspect of his career, but
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh
everything he showed up in, he was just awesome. Like
yeah. I
yeah,
I definitely preferred his more, I don't know, dramatic roles, I guess you could say, rather than just the Pee Wee stuff. Not to say I dislike the Pee Wee stuff. It's fine. But
yeah. But I mean, yeah, we got older, and it was like when he showed up in Blow, it was like, oh,
oh yeah,
hell
sweet.
yeah,
Paul
hey,
Rubens.
he's acting. And it's like, of course, I think you get even older than that, then you're like, well, Pee Wee's acting too, and it's actually really hard. But
Yeah.
it's like you kind of that 18 to 30 range. You're kind of like getting more
Yeah.
into the dramatic stuff and maybe underappreciating childish things that actually take a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he showed up in Reno 911, that I remember that was almost revelatory for me. I don't
Yeah.
think I had seen him in anything but Blow for a minute. And so when he started popping up in Reno 911, I was like, yes, like, and he just played it amazingly. Um, he's like one of those guys that I feel like he walked so Jim Carrey could run.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a lot of those physical comedic actors. It's like I think they owe a lot to Pee Wee, or just like silly, like super silly characters,
Yeah.
and just yeah, it could be so like weird, surreal. It wasn't like the wink wink adultiness of like Ren and Stimpy. Like there was stuff that adults could laugh at, like just how Pee Wee was with women was like
Yeah.
hilarious, but it wasn't in like a sneaky underneath it all like creepy way. It was just a kind of an adult thing, and but just still sort of innocent.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was like really great at that. And I was gonna say also, oh yeah, what were some of the other roles? Like he was great in stuff that technically isn't that great. Like
Um,
we love
Mystery Men.
yeah,
He was in that. Yeah.
but like Dunstan checks in.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
a
was the
movie.
shining star of
Yeah,
that.
like
Besides the monkey.
it's silly and it's stupid, and we like it because of that. But it's like when he shows up, like he's fully committed to that character.
Oh yeah. No half measures.
No,
Paul Rubens.
did the voice of the like alien ship in Flight of the Navigator, um,
Yeah.
which I always learn and sort of forget, and then I relearn it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's such a great like voice performance. He's
Yeah.
in Nightmare on not Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Christmas as
Yeah.
one of the side characters. But I mean,
Yeah.
I saw the image
He's
of it. I was like,
Locke.
I remember that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the three lock, shock, and barrel. He's Locke.
Okay. Yeah. Mm,
Penguin's father in Batman Returns and in Gotham, the TV show.
yes, yes. Cobblepot. I don't remember his first name.
Yeah, me either.
But yeah, just and also he pulled the. It's not like we're gonna give credit to Norm for this, but he pulled the Norm Macdonald. He had cancer for a long time. Just
Yeah,
sort of kept it down, kept it to himself. I imagine for a lot of the same reasons Norm did. He didn't want to bum people out, and yeah, that's I don't know. I feel like if I had cancer and stuff, I'm gonna be very public about it.
yeah,
It's like, but just in a sort of observational documentation sort of way. That's just kind of my personality. But I really respect people that keep it close to the chest because they kind of want to keep things positive, or they don't want to make everything about them. I
yeah,
mean, Chadwick Boseman, similar thing, Black Panther, and other good
yeah.
movies that I need to see. I just haven't seen them yet.
I think they probably just want to be left the fuck alone. You
That's
know?
true too. That is a good point. But I can't remember if he is public about it, like Bob Marley back in the day when he got his cancer diagnosis. Like, what I
Yeah,
always liked about that was that he's like, well, I'm immediately going to work on my last album. That'll be my last album, and it has that tone. Guess Bowie kind of did the same thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that would be an approach. Maybe I wouldn't be as public. I just, okay, I got to work on my last series of paintings, my last album, like, there's sort of a morbid daydream fantasy I have about stuff like that. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I actually have time to like wrap things up. Like, okay, here's the art projects. Um, yeah. So I don't know, man. Anything else on Paul Rubens? He is just awesome.
It was great. Yeah, I really liked the guy whenever he showed up in anything. Did a lot of voice acting and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say two other things about him. One thing I've learned with the news on all this was that he was like really good about keeping up on people's birthdays.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he would just about anybody he knew, like if he knew it was your birthday, he would just throw all these like gifs and videos of people getting cake in the face. He'd just like, yeah, like spam them with that on their birthday. I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of sweet. And then the only other thing, like the whole, it's worth mentioning that there was a period where he got caught pleasuring himself in an adult movie theater. And I remember at the time, like, I was such a little kid, and people were like, oh, but how could you, like, touch
Yeah.
yourself in a pornographic theater surrounded by other adults that are there for the exact same reason? And
They did him
just,
dirty for that
they
for
really
sure.
did. But what I was going to point out is that I had kind of forgotten about it till somebody brought it up during all this. Was that when
Yeah.
he was going through that controversy, then he came out on like MTV Music Video Awards or Movie Awards, just
Hmm.
in character as Pee Wee, and then everybody's like, "Yeah, fuck yeah," and he's just like, "Heard any good jokes lately?" It's just because late night TV had just been relentless with him about it, which is
Yeah.
understandable. I mean, it's hard not to touch on Pee Wee touching himself, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, amazing. I'm gonna have to do like a rest in peace thing with Sinead O'Connor with Kelly.
Yeah.
But rest in
Hmm.
peace to her too. I'll just go ahead and say that real quick. But yeah,
Yeah.
two legends. I think we were. I don't want to wish it on anybody, but they say these things come in threes. So, if somebody like rhymes with a ootin or ignomal or rump. Yeah, like, I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
I couldn't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
It's so cryptic.
And just to segue really quickly away from that, I've been listening to a book on tape called The Inner Ape.
Yeah.
It's written by this primatologist who I'll try to pull up real quick. So I'm giving him his proper dues. But a lot of it's about bonobos, because that was his area of expertise. And there's
Hmm.
a couple things we'll just throw in here. This is not movie news or music, it's just kind of random stuff. Did you know that their genus name is Pan Paniscus?
No, I
And it
did
was
not.
after the pan, like the weird little sexual creature with the flute and the goat legs.
Yeah, yeah. The
Because
Greek
like,
god.
yeah,
I think it was Greek. Yeah,
I think so. And
Greek,
then
Roman, one of those.
yeah, so they named it Pan Paniscus because they're so like kind of sexual and like yeah, it's kind of how they manage their existence.
Yeah.
Um, Frans de Waal, Dutch primatologist and ethologist.
Hmm.
So, so apparently there's this thing. I'm trying to keep this a little PG, but apparently when lady bonobos rub their erogenous zone together, they call that GG rubbing. And apparently there's this other thing where the males, as kind of like a greeting, they'll get on all fours and then go ass to ass with their genitals. And just kind of rub as like a hello. Do you guess what they call that?
Uh, yeah, I couldn't guess. No idea.
Rump rump.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why that popped into my head when I was wishing potential death upon Ronald Rump. Yeah, so just oh yeah, rump rump. I've been so excited to like work it into a conversation. I just had to do it now. It was like I was listening and just giggling like a child at like 11:30 last night on my walk. It was like oh rump rump. Um oh, and I guess this is sort of segueing back into like shows and stuff we're watching. I started watching Chimp Kingdom, or yeah, I think it's Chimp Kingdom or something like that.
Huh.
And it oh Chimp Empire, that's what it is. It's on
Oh,
Netflix. Kind of a cool doc. Really great footage of chimpanzees, and it's interesting going through it, and it's told in such that like soft planet Earth doc sexy voice with Mahershala Ali,
hmm,
but it's like going over like the basic stuff that was in chapter 1 of this book I'm listening to. And but I get to have that like, oh yes, we do share 98% of our DNA with them, don't we? Oh yes, the alpha male does need the large assistance of a number 2 in the political dealings of the chimp troop. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been really getting back into like the primatology stuff. That was something I attempted to get a second degree in college and didn't pull it off because I ran out of student loan money. And it's like,
yeah,
man, college should just be free for everybody. If it was, I'd immediately just go get all that primatology stuff. I just
yeah.
love it. And I guess that leads me into that's a show. It's a doc series on Netflix. Is there any shows you've been watching lately?
We just finished Righteous Gemstones
Yes, we
together.
did. That was incredible.
Yeah,
I love
it
that
was
show.
solid.
Uh, I think it might be my favorite season. I like all of them, but
Yeah, it was
um,
solid.
yeah, it had like I think the emotional, like the actual tender, sweet moments resonated better, and then
Yeah,
when it elevated into like comedic stuff, it was like really great. Some of the like crazy, like almost creepy, scary, or violent parts were like more effective.
yeah,
Um, yeah, the only thing I miss is there's like a couple really amazing like monologues or dialogue exchanges between like Judy and BJ in the first 2 seasons that are just like
yeah.
they were so like bizarre and hilarious to me that like they're kind of like one of those funny scenes where you're like I don't even really know where I am right now, like what the hell. But like there is a scene of that in this season, but I'd say it's a little bit more physical comedy. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again because it's had the same like what the fuck like, but a lot of floppy wiener, bold choices with wiener.
Oh yeah,
And
always love to see it.
yeah, I admire that. Like people, you know, it interconnects with the Pee Wee thing and all like how nonchalant our closest relatives, the bonobos, are with sex. I think they're just a tad more close to us than chimps, but I'd have to double check that. But yeah, around that 98 point something percentile.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, it's just people need to get the fuck over it. It's a big old floppy wiener getting helicoptered around. Deal with it. You're
yeah,
fine. You're an
it's great.
adult. But my honestly, my only complaint, it's not even a complaint. It's just something I want more of in the next season is I want more Aunt Tiffany.
Yeah,
I needed more of her and I didn't get enough. And then the soundtrack was really good this season, but it didn't quite fuck as hard as the first two seasons.
no,
I might eat my words on that after a second viewing, but that's all. It was just another great season of like Danny McBride and the funny people he surrounds himself with.
yeah,
Oh, and spoiler: the Keith Kelvin thing. That was
yeah.
really great.
This is great. Finally getting some resolution there.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Keith kind of took on some of that like hilarious what? Like he always is hilarious, but he had some incredible scenes in this where maybe that was filling in for Aunt Tiffany. They just didn't have as much for Tiffany to do this time, and
Yeah,
Keith stepped up. It's like what? That's Kelvin's friend. What do they call him? Quiche?
Heath.
Heath? Heath. Yeah, still smelling the dirt, and he's like, he could tell that Kelvin was there. Like, it's amazing. We've been, I don't know if we talked about it. We've been watching the new season of Always Sunny.
Yeah,
I think that's been really good.
yeah.
Did you watch the Irish season?
Irish
That was like the one
season.
before this one.
Uh, I think so. Yeah,
I mean, that one was really good, but it was like, and it is really good. It's not, so this isn't a complaint either, but it was kind of gimmicky.
yeah,
So it was like, okay, you're along the ride for this ongoing Ireland thing, which was great and kind of like a way to freshen things up. But I have enjoyed that this season is a little back to just Philly weird ass Frank shenanigans.
yeah. Just
Um,
episodic,
yeah,
whatever. Pretty self-contained little things.
yeah. Um, Dennis, I mean, I think he's been kind of the all star this season a little bit, if not Danny DeVito. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to,
Well,
yeah,
can't upstage Danny DeVito.
yeah. You can be up on a state like up higher than him, but there's this one great singular Dennis episode where I think they like so they've done one Charlie maybe they've even done um wow, why can't I think of her name? D. Yeah, Sweet D. I think they've done a Sweet D one, but I know they've done Charlie and Mac. They've had like kind of these emotional episodes
Yeah,
where you kind of get right to the core of who they are as a character and what's kind of going on in there. Um, One was like Max, like kind of like interpretive dance of him like coming out to his dad. It was like kind of really beautiful and sweet. And Charlie, I mean, he's Charlie's had some moments like even outside of one episode, but I think him being tearful last season with the Ireland thing, kind of near the tail end of the season. Uh,
yeah,
Sweet D had one episode where she talked like really sincerely about how much she loved acting and all this stuff, and so I wonder if in this new season that Dennis specific episode, it's like, oh god, is this like the Dennis episode where it's like this is who he is, like inside of his head?
and we see all the bodies in his floorboards.
Yeah, And just that spoiler, sorry, like when he reaches into the doctor's chest and just pulls out his heart and crushes it into a
Yeah.
diamond. And then it like has this fucking American Psycho ending where it's like, oh, that's just what's going on in his head. Like he didn't actually do any of that. That's just always where he is. Or like the one thing I've already seen like sort of turned into a meme is the line where he's like, "Do you have like really high blood pressure right now?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I can lower that at will." Or like some fucked up thing like that. You're like, but yeah, those have been the shows. Other than my, I'm shoving food into my mouth rewatch of How I Met Your Mother. It's
Yeah.
like very background.
I
And I'm
watched the
yeah.
first. I watched the first episode of Good Omens today.
Second
This,
season.
yeah, second season. Way too early to tell anything, but yeah, I'll watch another. That's about all I can say about it.
Seem consistent with the first season.
Oh, decently. I mean, with any first episode of a season, it's a lot of setup,
Yeah.
so it's hard to tell.
Did you ever watch? Fuck. Oh, uh, something Wolves on HBO Max.
Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves. Yeah. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, Ridley Scott. Yeah, yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Did you feel? I stopped after the second season. I really liked the first season. Second
Yeah,
season, I got in about 2 or 3 episodes. I was like, I'm done. I thought it got really
yeah.
weird and silly. But what's your opinion on it?
I don't know. I liked it. I would have liked to see where they went with it. I thought it was a little haphazardly cobbled together. Like it. That's why I wanted to see more of it. Is like, are they going somewhere with this, or is it just like a
Yeah.
whole bunch of mystery?
Well,
Seems like they kept on adding like more and more plot threads that never resolved, and I wanted to see the resolution, but never get to. So
well, and I think that is what it was. Is I was watching it with Shockey, and the show had a lot of goodwill with both of us, and him and I can have pretty different tastes.
mhm.
But we both love Westworld, even though that sort of dropped off near the end. Is like we still would watch that and like it a lot, or love it
Mhm.
depending. But yeah,
Yeah,
we really liked the first season, and then we got to the second season, and I was about 1 or 2 episodes in. It's like, nope, they're doing some bullshit Lost thing. It's like too many
yeah,
threads. They're not going to resolve it. It's all mystery box bullshit. And he's like, no, 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 let's keep going. And then we watched a couple more episodes, and then it's like, yeah, it probably is. And so a lot of shows will just be like, just wait until that's done, and then we'll watch it. You like kind of wait to
yeah.
see if like
They go
they
somewhere with
yeah,
it.
well they wrap it up. It's like that was they ended it good. Like okay, I'll go back and watch that stuff I was iffy on. I'm just not playing the mystery box thing, which I also understand is tough because you have to retain viewership to finish a series.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know quite the resolution on that, other than I think shows should stop relying on cliffhangers and mystery boxes as much as they do. Like, yeah, you gotta have them here and there. Keeps you going,
yeah,
like, but that was one thing that Danny McBride talked about in an interview recently with Righteous Gemstones, is that he does feel like too many seasons end on a cliffhanger.
yeah,
So every Gemstone season, he likes to have like a culmination, like it wraps up the
yeah,
whole story, and if it ends
yeah.
there,
Put a
you can end
period
it
on it.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um. That did remind me of something. Oh yeah, with Raised by Wolves, I had always hoped that they were like gonna make an alien connection just because of the Ridley Scott thing.
yeah,
They didn't need to, but I was like, ooh, that's kind of fun. Like, explain the engineers and then this like creepy AI thing that's like ancient, and then aliens and engineers, and you could maybe work in the Predator like the good old comics, not the stupid movies they made. They
yeah.
didn't. So that's a one movie news thing, is that there's another alien movie coming out. by some
Yeah.
up and coming horror movie director. Had one good indie horror, and so they're gonna throw a big franchise at him. So I don't have a lot of faith in that approach by studios, but I think there's been some good stuff that came from that.
Yeah. I like to be surprised, but don't get your hopes up kind of thing.
I think the first Black Panther was like that, sort of. It wasn't as immediate. Ryan Coogler, he did some indie film, can't remember the name of it. Then he did like franchise-ish thing with the Creed, the Rocky spinoff.
Hmm.
And then they're like, all right, give him Black Panther, and that upward trajectory was that made sense to me and was real nice. But yeah, I think this one movie we haven't watched yet, Evil Dead Rise. That was
Yeah.
one thing. Some dude did a little indie horror film, and then they're like, oh, give him the Evil Dead thing, see what he does with it. And it's like, it seems a bit quick for me. But
Yeah.
can you think of any off the top of your head? Small little indie right into a big IP, big franchise.
Not really. Um,
Because there's always a couple like inching them towards that movies in between. It seems.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. If you think of one, let me know.
I will.
You have not seen
I mean,
Oppenheimer yet?
I have not. I'm
Okay.
planning to real
I need
soon.
to.
And Barbie, I'm gonna see that too.
Yeah, I want to see Barbie. I. It's funny. There's this whole narrative that you can go find on other podcasts that talk about movies and stuff. I won't bother really getting into it, but apparently it has a really good, unique approach to expressing some basic feminist ideas.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, it's for kind of younger teen girls to like take some of the stuff in and like, oh yeah, yeah, and just the fucking man boy incels just freaking out about it. It's just like
Throwing a fit.
I read a 1.5 star review of it today, which was actually written fairly intelligently, and he used words like didacticism and like stuff like that. Ooh,
Big $20 words.
yeah, and I was like, okay, he's not just like just fucking woke. Like it wasn't dumb like that, but I can't help but think that like by the time I got to the end of it, is like you're a grown man who this movie was probably not made for. It's made for everybody, but it's made for a certain age, certain
Yeah.
vibe, and how much you give a fuck and how much this bothers you. It bothers you enough to give it a 1.5 star when I know that just the skill and effort that went into it makes it more than 1.5.
Yeah.
Like I can't help but like sort of dismiss his whole review because it's like, yeah, there's didacticism in it, which for those that don't know is like just when they're in a story, it's trying to teach you something. Like so, it's like it is like talking to you like a teacher. Like now, this is what this is, and you should know that that leads to that. And Pixar is a lot like that,
Yeah.
and it's like yeah, it has a feminist agenda, and it's fine, and it's like what I've gathered is that it expresses it in a pretty like straightforward like yeah, if you don't kind of if unless you're like young and learning this stuff for the first time, it's like if you don't know this stuff like by the time you're an adult, then yikes, like. But I don't know. I guess I ended up talking about it a little more than I intended to, but I am excited to see it and kind of yeah, form my own opinion. I'll imagine I'll be like what I am with most of these movies that uh create a lot of ink on paper. Is I'm just like, oh, that was about 3 or 4 stars. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
It always amazes me like how much people talk about these things and then I go see them and they're like, that's what you were pissed about? That was really tame and
yeah,
fine. Like
yeah.
wasn't even that preachy.
Okay, I'll give you a quick little example of this, and then we can move on. You remember when they were like making a big to do about a lesbian kiss in The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
So I am pissed a little bit on a both sides aspect of that, and here's the only reason why. I'm annoyed at the corporate let's print a bunch of articles about how there's this big controversy about a lesbian kiss when they were the ones that are starting the news cycle
Oh
of
yeah.
that. And then,
Hmm.
because they know it'll get clicks, and they know that people are like, well, fucking lesbians, this is Star Wars, it's for families. They like freak out. So they're creating the freak out. And then you go see The Rise of Skywalker, and it's in the background. And you're like, wait,
Yeah.
did it happen? Like, that was. Fuck. Like, if you're going to make a big to do about it and stir up all these incels and shit, like, I want her spitting in the other lady's mouth.
Yeah. Have the balls to commit.
Yeah, like tongue in her nostril, just like, and just yeah. There's your lesbian kiss. Like, okay, I can see. Like, now, kids, I know you like Star Wars, but there's gonna be this lady spitting in another lady's mouth in the background, and I want you to know that that's their choice. Like, just I don't know. That's all I mean. Is sometimes there are like these stupid fucking articles. Well, and
Yeah.
that has been the case with Oppenheimer. Is all the various controversies. Red Letter Media in their review like just did a montage of all like when there's not a controversy, how hard people will try to find one.
To make one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god, like that
Got to
is
get those clicks. Got to get
yeah,
those clicks, man. Got to piss somebody off so they'll click on your video.
yeah. That I don't know how or if we can ever get that to go away, but that is a thing where I'm like, fuck, that
I
needs to
hope
go
so.
away. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's a technology thing, like Um, it's like when a new technology arrives, it's like it's always like kind of chaotic and creates a lot of uproar. Like the invention of the printing press, you know, like they start printing the Bible and creates like religious wars and all this other stuff. And,
Yeah.
but then eventually it gets integrated into humanity, and it just now the pros of creating the printing press have far outweighed the negatives.
Yeah.
And so
I should say so.
yeah, so I would just hope it's the same thing with social media or AI or any of that
Yeah.
stuff. Like, but
Yeah.
we will see. And now because there's not a lot of movie news.
Yeah.
Let's click on an article and react to it angrily.
Yeah. Real angry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is on Collider.com, a site I used to love, and now I sort of love to hate it because their tone has definitely changed over the years, and a lot less movie news and a lot more opinion pieces. And here's an opinion piece, the title being The 10 Best Movie Villains of All Time, Ranked. So we're going to go through the list real quick to wrap up the episode. And, we'll spend as much time on it as we like to. I'm not going to really turn it into a huge thing, but yeah. So, you give me your opinion on if you think they should even be on the list, or if they should be higher, or we could rearrange some things as we do this.
Okay, we starting at the bottom of the list here or
Yep,
top?
starting at 10. Do you want the list, or do you want me to just surprise you?
Oh, just surprise me, I guess.
Okay. We're at number 10, Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old
That,
Men.
that's a pretty good pick. I'm gonna have to hear the rest. I mean, he's a very compelling, like truly evil
Yeah,
dude.
played by. Well, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna want that one higher, but that's because No Country for Old Men is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Sure. I would say that he belongs on the list. That's for sure. Maybe he will be higher. I got to see who else is on there. He's played by Javier Bardem.
mm-hmm.
Probably my favorite role of his. Coen Brothers, another great plus. And then the book is written by the guy that did The Road, that just passed away.
Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah. So, and I think that there's a video going around on YouTube where somebody's talking about like a professional in some aspect of being able to define a psychopath,
Hmm.
and they're going through various films of like, yeah, what who actually reflects what a true psychopath path behaves like, and they were like Anton Chigurh is pretty spot on. It's like he's pretty freaky and detached and just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just the ending. I mean, he's ruthless through the whole thing, but the ending of that movie alone is just kind of like, damn, that's cold blooded.
Yeah.
So I will, yeah, I'll go with that. Number 9, HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm, they're picking this one for the movie, not for the character.
It is creepy, iconically
Yeah,
creepy, but I have a hard time
best
giving it
movie
a
villain.
villain thing
Yeah,
because it's a robot, it's an AI. It's kind of like it's acting out of like self-preservation, I think, in a distorted, fucked up way. Which I guess you could argue that with a lot of villains, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's more like a program that's like, meh, like I don't know. I guess that does raise an interesting philosophical question. Is it's like, oh, this program got fucked up. Like that's
Yeah.
dangerous. That's fucked up. But I don't feel like this. Holy shit, that's a dark character.
I I wouldn't even really consider it an antagonist. It's more like a plot device with a voice.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Is it's like he's dependent on it because of where he is in space, and it's the ship, and
Yeah.
it's oh, like
The
the ship's
space
had a
is the
defect.
antagonist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
The
iconically.
environment's the villain.
Yeah, if you're doing a top 10 creepiest uh,
Yeah,
entities
maybe.
or characters, maybe because it is creepy. Like when it's like looking, when it's like watching them talk privately, it's just
Yeah.
sitting there staring at them like that. Yeah, it's effective. It's creepy as fuck, but and if it were to make the top 10, Anton Chigurh beats it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, here's a good one. I've heard some interesting debate on this one. Number 8 is Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Hmm.
And the discussion I've heard on it is it's like when you view her through her lens, she's a lot more sympathetic than you might think.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's kind of more like a classic movie bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't.
it's hard to look at her like as a villain. Like,
Yeah. Well, she does serve as an antagonist for sure. Like
definitely.
that's true. But I don't know if I would label her a villain. She's just, I don't know, very very serious about her job in a way that makes her a cunt.
Yeah. So you could probably think of another character or so that could compare, but when I think of her, I think of characters like the Warden in Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
That guy's a
Very
villain,
similar.
and he's a piece of shit because he has that little
Yeah.
extra murderous, psycho controlling edge where she's like
Yeah.
controlling, but she feels like she's doing things like by the book as she
Yeah.
understands it, and
She's controlling in the you can't watch baseball kind of way, not like the
I'm gonna,
murderous.
yeah, I'm gonna put you in the hole for another month to think about it. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
send
There's
you
different
down with the
levels of evil.
sodomites. You're just like, good lord, like, yeah. So she's 8. So I think Hal 9000 and Anton Chigurh beat her.
Oh, definitely. You telling me Anton Chigurh is not more evil than Nurse Ratched? Come on.
Well, and here's another great, just basic question: is like, who would you rather run into?
Yeah.
I think I can handle Nurse Ratched. I might even take her to dinner, help her calm down. Um, oh man, that made me think. Yeah, but all time movie like bitch slash asshole. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
see her top 10. She is a bitch.
Hmm.
Number 7, Hans Landa in Glorious Bastards.
It's a pretty good pick
He's
for
a really
sure.
good villain.
He is.
He's a lot of fun. Does the funness take him down a notch, though?
It takes away from his I don't know how to
Threat?
put it. No, he's very threatening because he could
Yeah, he
just
is.
pull
Well,
out a
at
gun and
least in
kill
the
you.
beginning of the first half of the movie, I
Yeah.
say he is.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's
He is a
yeah.
good pick. Very well acted for sure. Like great, compelling. He's pervasive throughout the whole film too, which I think is important when you're picking best villains.
Yeah. Um, I think it kind of. How are you defining the list?
I don't
Like,
know.
and how much you enjoy that villain popping up on screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on the list. He's a lot of fun. But then villains that actually truly like disturb you
Yeah.
and like freak you out in a way, like can actually get under your skin, I don't think he makes the list. I think he's too like funny and silly at times. He's very threatening too. The mixture is great, but that's like kind of Tarantino, and it's just a
Hmm.
lot of fun. So yeah, if you're just like villains of all time, like Darth Vader, right? Like
Yeah.
top 10, but not in like, oh, that actually freaks me out or scares me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Anton Chigurh beats him.
Yeah. Although I do think Hans Landa deserves to be on the list. Just
Sure. So as of right
yeah.
now, I would have knocked off Nurse Ratched and HAL 9000.
Yeah.
Hans is currently at number 10. Uh, and I just a shout out to how he went from uh, Hans Landa to the character in Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Won an Oscar for both of them, and just going from one end to the other.
Yeah. The super evil German and super good German.
Yeah, for the good German, very lovable. Like, ah. All right. This is gives you an idea of how they're putting this list together. Number 6 is the Alien. We should have put Xenomorph from Alien,
Yeah.
1979. That's a movie
I don't
monster
know.
to me.
Yeah. I do movie monsters count as villains?
It
I wouldn't say so.
depends on the story. I don't know. Maybe a monster's never really a villain. It's a monster. It's
Yeah.
like a force of nature in a way.
Are we going to put the T-Rex from Jurassic Park on here too? Like it just opens the door for too many things.
It's a good point. Like, well, and even like weird B movies like The Relic. It's like this man who turns into this creature that like has must consume brains to survive. Like, I
Yeah.
no longer look at him like a villain. He's a creature trying to live.
Yeah.
And so that is interesting. Is there a monster that's a villain? And then that raises the question of like, okay, so Dracula,
Yeah, Dracula sort of counts, I
so,
guess,
but
as a
it's
monster.
too
But
self-aware in a character that it's not a monster anymore. It's just a.
yeah.
But some vampires can be monsters. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, one thing I got to rip off from Best of the Worst Red Letter Media Watch is they were watching some terrible movie called The Bog or something like that,
Yeah.
and they pointed out this scene in the bog where one of the old ladies is like investigating like she's a scientist, but also an old lady. They're just old people in it for some reason.
Yeah.
And she like leads into a guy who's like, "Are you saying that we have a Dracula on our hands?" Like calling a vampire a Dracula instead of a vampire is pretty fucking funny. I'm not sure why, but yeah, that I don't think top 10 movie monsters, top 5, maybe top 3, the Xenomorph,
Yeah.
sure. But villain, it's too much of like a force of nature. I'm not gonna call nature a villain.
Yeah.
Number 5, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Certainly classic. You
I,
can't
yeah.
deny.
Iconic. In my top 10, no, because I guess I do define my villain list as who actually gets to me and like.
Yeah.
I mean, she did kind of freak me the fuck out when I was little. Witches in general did. That has more to do with the Witches movie than Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
though.
She doesn't like have that characteristic that just makes you feel icky. Like, I don't
no.
know. It's not like I want to rip her head off or anything, or like
No,
I don't feel like oh
she's
that's evil.
she's on the list with Nurse Ratched. She's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see where she's coming from if you look at it from a certain light. And then the
I mean,
flying.
Dorothy did crush. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dorothy did crush her sister.
that's right.
Come on,
Yeah,
what would
and
you do?
I would crush her other sister too. Steal her shoes. Her flying monkeys. Those are great movie monsters. They are villains. They're kind of like monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll throw her on the iconic villain, like memorable,
yeah,
like you remember what it is.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I'll even maybe give her top 10 on that one, but I'm just like, yeah. So far, Anton Chigurh beats all of these.
Yeah,
Hans Landa,
definitely.
I leave on the list. Yeah, so those are the only two staying on for me.
Yeah,
4, Norman Bates, Psycho.
it's a pretty good pick too. But
Yeah. He's
in that time
psychologically
period,
disturbed.
yeah, in that time period, you couldn't really put on screen what he should have been, in my opinion. Like, he's definitely creepy. Got that, he's
Yeah.
insane killer that got that nice face,
Yeah.
nice outward appearance, and can charm you. He's got the villain charisma. Not a
Yeah.
bad choice,
Little
but
Ted
I
Bundy-ish in a way.
yeah, little hampered by the era in which the movie came out, I think.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
not that you should remake Psycho. Don't do
No,
that.
no, they already did that once, and
Oh shit.
rest in peace, Anne Heche. I remember trying to watch that, and they replaced Norman Bates with fuck. Who is the guy in Wedding Crashers? Your main guy in Dodgeball.
Oh,
Wow, can't think of his name. Vince Vaughn.
yeah.
Yeah, he was Norman Bates.
They ca-
Do you
they
not
cast
remember this
Vince
one from the
Vaughn.
90s?
No.
Oh, it was bad. I
I
maybe
probably
watched it out of
avoided it on purpose.
curiosity, but Norman Bates though, iconic villain list, sure. Top 10 like memorable, referenced the effect on the zeitgeist kind of thing, but
Yeah.
and I'll retract what I said just a minute ago where I was like, it's like he's mentally disturbed. How bad can he be? But then I guess looking at Anton Chigurh's condition,
Yeah.
maybe in a couple decades we'll look back on that. It's like, oh, that's totally treatable. Like, like you can have some sympathy for him. He just didn't get the help he needed. Or I don't know. But I could see leaving him on this list. You know what this is going to lead to? We're going
What?
to have to make our own lists and compare them.
That's true.
But, yeah.
It's going to be a hard one to do. I hate like ranking things like that.
Yeah, I'm not. I kind of just go with my general mood at the time and they shift around.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that one should have been there. I don't get super hardcore, like, no, it's number 3. But number 3 on here is Dr. Hannibal Lecter, The Silence of the Lambs.
That's a good pick.
Fantastic. Top 3?
Very good pick.
Probably, yeah, top 3 for me.
Probably.
I think Hannibal Lecter beats out Anton Chigurh.
Yeah, as far as creepiness factor, yeah, for sure.
He, what I like about a good villain is creeps me out, freaks me out, but then he's also got some interesting points. And like speaks to a darkness within humanity that it's like, ugh. That's like a
Yeah.
thing that you don't like to look at. But it's like,
Yeah.
there's got a point there.
Maybe that's the key to a good villain. You just need him to be a mirror.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Anton Chigurh says some shit. You're like, that's really fucking cold, but. Interesting point there. And then that's what we call the dismal tide. Yeah, so not. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Now
Yeah,
it's
no
just
complaints.
sort of about placement. Number 2 is the Joker from The Dark Knight. That's on my list.
Yeah, I wouldn't say number 2 is deserving, but a very compelling villain, very well acted,
Very
and it's
iconic.
hard to not to relate the character to like just the entire Batman mythos as a whole,
Yeah.
because there's so many different Jokers. This one specifically, Heath Ledger. Yeah, probably one of the creepiest of the Jokers to be ever put to screen.
I'd say it's iconic. It's awesome. Like, it's one of my personal favorite villain performances.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, probably the thing that keeps it down is that it's like all these other Joker bodies that Heath Ledger had to climb up to plant a flag at him and be like, so he built off of all that to create that, which still takes a lot of unique effort and ability and skill, but he had a lot of material to work with to kind of like pick and choose what he's going to put on to portray this. Whereas
it's hard.
Anton Chigurh is Anton Chigurh.
Yeah,
and
it's hard for me to think of Joker as a singular entity.
Yeah. I mean, it's comic books. It's sort of that multiverse thing. Different interpretations. Yeah. It's like more like a Jungian archetype.
Yeah, definitely.
But that particular version, still see people walking around with that style of the Joker makeup. And
yeah.
Once again, like I was just saying, some of the points he makes, you're like, shit. Yeah. Alright. I was like, I just do things. Like a dog chasing cars. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people like that. It's very human in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say top 5, though. Maybe just 5. Maybe sounds about right. Their number 1, which defines what kind of list this is Darth Vader.
That's in the same vein as the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah. Great villain, but it's like fun. Like, oh, yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah, Vader.
So it's like this list. If you're making a list like that, then you could start being like, oh, Scar from The Lion King.
Yeah. Can he be even allowed on the list since he has the redemption at the end?
I think not. I think as soon as he has redemption, he like falls way down.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I mean, shit. If we're gonna do Star Wars, like, well, we gotta represent Star Wars. The Emperor,
Yeah, he's way more evil.
way more evil, way more creepy, way more awesomely creepy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any good points. He's just he also belongs on the bitch list.
Yeah.
He's a giant bitch.
Palpatine's such a bitch.
Like every time he's like teasing him, like you want this, don't you? It's like what a bitch.
He seems to be evil just for the sake of it, too. Like, it's just like, yeah, he's evil
I
because
like it.
he really enjoys being
Yeah.
evil.
Fuck yeah, he belongs. You know, even the evilness, he belongs on the top 10.
Yeah.
Because just like, yeah, like I am so frustrated and creeped out and sort of intimidated by him in Return of the Jedi. And then, you know, for as much as the prequels are Vader's story and they're not as good as the originals, sorry, fucking people that grew up with them and love them more than the original, but it's like his story arc through the prequels, it's like kind of his story too. And it's just about how
Yeah.
manipulative and creepy and awful he is.
Yeah. Ruthless and patient.
He is the Phantom Menace. Yeah, it's genuinely like creepy character.
Yeah.
He would like lightning shock and melt the Wicked Witch of the West. And it's like I could only picture like yeah, in a weird way, Heath Ledger's Joker, Hannibal Lecter, Anton Chigurh. They're the only ones that I think like during Emperor Palpatine's like manipulations. I think I'm just going to shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, what? No. It's just yeah, the Force is what keeps him back. If those characters could find a way around it, they'd just like be eating his face.
Anton Chigurh just walks up to Palpatine and fires off his little piston in his head.
That fuck yeah, the cattle air gun. Hannibal Lecter would find a way to drug him and eat his face. Joker would like
Oh,
find
that's what happened to Palpatine.
yeah. I put him in some vinegar to marinate him, and it just went for too long. Joker from The Dark Knight would find a way to burn him on all his space credits.
Yeah.
Like anybody else on this list? Like, well, I guess Darth Vader's the one that killed him, but see, that makes him a good guy.
Yeah.
Norman Bates, nah. Emperor Palpatine's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, definitely.
Gonna fuck up the alien. That's a monster, though. Yeah, Hans Landa's not gonna not gonna be able to do much. He'd probably work for him. You know, it's like if Hans Landa is pretending where you plug him in, he's either working on the Make America Great Again campaign or he's part of the Empire, like, depending on
Yeah.
where you plug him in. Nurse Ratchet, I mean, what's she gonna do? HAL 9000 would just be like C3PO. Oh my! Yeah. Alright, that didn't piss me off. I disagreed with a lot of it,
Yeah.
but I was like, it wasn't like anything where.
Wasn't egregious or
No.
anything. Yeah.
So, what I'm going to pose to you, and we'll do this whenever we're ready to do it, put a villain list together of villains that actually disturb you and freak you out.
Yeah.
I kind of got a point. Like, they don't have to have a point that you agree with, but you're like, ugh. Like, their philosophy's fucked up, their behavior, their presence, like all those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, listener, you're already gonna know Anton Chigurh's on there.
Yeah.
Hans Landa might be knocked off. Hannibal Lecter's gonna be on there. The Joker's gonna be on there, and Palpatine. It's just a matter of what the order is. With that, yeah, I think we're good. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
It's a nice, tasty episode.
Yeah.
I think we might just stick with that. I'll give Kellen a break so I can paint and hit him up for next episode. But yeah, well, with that, I think we're gonna say bye bye. Thank you for listening to the Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in.